someone sent me Buzz Rossfield's number. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Day Sports. We're not about the X's and O's, but the show and goes. This episode is purely going to be predictions for the 2026 season, or at least mostly going to be that. So a few things to get through. We'll have top 8. So I have top 8, who I think is going to be in the grand final, win the grand final, the spoon, as well as who I think might get the Dally M medal. So that's basically what we're going to be jumping through. So I'm going to timestamp it all, get around whichever parts you'd like. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow on all the social medias, links to everything. Leave a comment, let me know how wrong I am. Clip everything up because I'm either going to be Mystic Mac with these predictions or they could go awfully wrong. And the way that rugby league and the NRL has gone the last few years, who knows? It could have completely fallen on its head. The Knights win the comp, Broncos get the spoon, like anything is possible at this stage. But very exciting. We got rugby league back this weekend. While it is only trials for the teams that are going over to America, so you got Doggies, Cowboys, Knights, Dragons. I know, thrilling stuff, right? But then in the second, third week, it really starts to pick up. So that means the content wheel is going to be winding up as well. And every single week's basically going to be my predictions, any goss, any news, any hot topics, and whatever else. So if you're interested in any of that, do get around it. Alrighty, so I suppose might as well jump straight into who I think is going to be in the top 8. And I will break this down into who I think is going to be, I suppose, top 4-ish, kind of, as well. But then the rest of it, no particular order. So they're going to fall in there eventually. So starting out, and I'd say almost probably my pick to be minor premiers. They terrify me, and that is going to be the Penrith Panthers. I think they, especially the way that they started off last year, they got so close to being in the grand final. Like, I was at the game where the Broncos knocked them out, and it was the most satisfying watch I think I've ever seen in my entire life. But they've been kind of operating in the shadows a little bit, in the silence. We haven't heard much from the Penrith Panthers, considering all the other years. Like, they won 4 years in a row, yippee yahooing. It was always the team to beat, and people are just kind of like not talking about them as much. Still about the Melbourne Storm, obviously the Brisbane Broncos, but Penrith, I feel like in a way, has kind of fallen to the wayside. Giving them like a full proper like off-season bit of time off where they're not playing all the way through, not playing the grand final. I suppose it's one extra game, but maybe not quite to the same extent. Bit more of a refresh, bit more of a break, full preseason to get ready. I think their combinations last season were a bit iffy up until, obviously, they went on that run up until the final season. So more time to marinate in that, and that fucking terrifies me, honestly. Like, I can see them, definitely being in the top. I feel like they're going to be in the top 4, if not win the minor premiership. So Penrith are going to be, they're going to be one. So my second team that is going to be in the top 4 has got to be my Brisbane Broncos. We're going back to back, baby. Look, on paper, I don't see why not. Like, the Broncos have consistently kind of been like that. On paper, yep, they should definitely be there, and I think it's going to be the same case this year. Another year under Madge, I think is going to be great for them, particularly another off-season with them. While it has nearly broken Ben Hunt, the boys just marinating a little bit of Madge again in the off-season. I think it's going to be really, really pivotal. And it looks like they're dead set, in particular Madge is dead set on avoiding any sort of premiership hangover, any sort of head noise coming out of that season. Like, I think most betting companies, a lot of people are picking them to either be in the top 4, either minor or win the grand final again, and I don't see a reason why they can't go again the entire way. Like, especially when you've got a guy like Reece Walsh catching lightning in a bottle, doing the damn thing and actually winning it, Kangaroos tour into this. Like, if he rolls into this season, particularly at the start, with any like close bit of form like he's had, forget about it. Like, I think teams are he's just gonna blow them out of the park. Like, I can't wait for us to go over to England, play Hull, absolutely fist them to bits. I think it's going to be a walk in the park, and I'm really keen to see it. Now, these next 2 in the top 4 aren't in any particular order, so I'm just going to rattle them off. But I think the Sharks are going to be there. As much as I do shit on them, they tend to just slide in and around that part. Like, I feel like they're going to manage to fit in without doing anything exceptional. Like, I've just always found them just a meh kind of team. And I mean that respectfully. Like, I think across the board, they've got like no X factor, no real exceptional, like crazy standout players, but all players that are very, very consistent, very solid. They all do a job. And that kind of all combines together just for those results. And I feel like they're going to be able to do that again this season. And I feel like that's basically where they're going to fall this season. They're like at the top of average. And I know that's wild to think if that's going to be in the top 4. I think that's what we're going to see week in, week out. Just doing enough, nothing crazy, probably not blowing teams out of the water, but they're going to be consistent and they're just going to be able to edge out teams and just get it done. Like, that's what I can see happening from the Sharks. To round off my top 4, though, I'm then going with Sticky's Raiders. Sticky, I think he's already kicked off the season the right way, having a little luncheon with the wives and the partners. It looked like he had died and gone to heaven, honestly. It was so hilarious, the image coming out from the Raiders. Just got Ricky at the head of the table and just, I don't know, 20, 30 odd ladies all around him. Just, ladies man Ricky Stewart. So I think their season could honestly really go one or two ways, and a big part of that, is going to be your halfback with Fogarty leaving the club. So if they're able to hit the ground running, I can see them really building on from last year. They've gone through a little bit of heartbreak. They've gone through the experience. Like, they're such a young team. So I can see them, either fall into the wayside or they're going to build on that and be there and abouts. I don't know if they're quite going to have the same season as last time, but yeah, I suppose we'll see what happens. I just think, look, statistically though, it didn't really go too well, where periods that Fogarty either wasn't playing or was injured or whatever was going on. Like, they kind of didn't go that well. But then you got a guy like Ethan Strange, who was just fucking hitting his stride last year, and his second year, I believe, in the NRL. So you can imagine what the future's going to hold. So very keen on what Sticky, Ricky and the Raiders pull off this year. Alrighty, now the rest of these ones, no particular order again, so I'm just going to go through it. But you might have noticed, didn't exactly put the Melbourne Storm in the top 4. I don't know. I think everyone's been saying it forever and just maybe hoping it, but I want them to go through a little bit of adversity this year, not finish in the top 4, not be minor prems, not be in the grand final. Just change it up a little bit would be great. But I think as well, like, they've had a lot of outs. There's been all the drama around Lomax. You had Pap's leave, Nas leave, the medical stuff going on with Eli Katoa, different players going next year and this, that, and talks around Bellyache. Is he going to be there? Not there? Is he going Titans? Just all sorts of stuff. And I'd like to think now that they are playing as a heavily traumatised side, 2 grand final losses in a row has got to do something to the confidence of a team. Like, I genuinely believe, and I'm taking the piss obviously, but I think the Broncos just about retired Ryan Papenhuyzen through to fucking PTSD trauma of losing. But on the other hand, Storm have basically been able to do it every single year for the last 20 years. So I'm not exactly banking in on a year that they're going to fall off. But I don't know. I think there's chinks in the armour, and I said it last year, and they were beatable, and they got beaten. So it is what it is. The Doggies, bro. I think they're another one that's going to be in the 8 again. They had a lot of shit happen last year, and I think they made some mistakes. And obviously over here, expert that knows better than Gus Gild. But there was all the Sexton, they were going really well with him leaving the team. The Lockie Galvin stuff that dragged on forever and ever. They had injuries, all sorts of dramas, and they just kind of fell off a cliff towards the end of the year. I think Leo Thompson is the exact forward, and so many people have spoken about it. They need that big enforcer in the middle, big dog, to really just fucking get in the nitty gritty and bash some teams. And I think he's going to be such a good pickup for them. I think as well, just another preseason to get humming, get the whole Galvin, get the Huff sorted, really kind of figure out the X's and O's, not having all the media fucking head noise with the Galvin stuff. I think that maybe potentially come back depending on how he starts the season. But I think the Doggies are a good chance to be in there. I can see them being a really good defensive team again. So yeah, Doggies will be there. The Sydney Roosters, I reckon they scrape into the top 8. People are really hot on them. Maybe not. And I was kind of even tossing up whether or not I had them in here, potentially over a team like the Rabbitohs or something. But they, again, another team that's going to float around the 8 pretty much year in, year out. I'm starting to wonder, though, with DC going to the Roosters, is he going to have a Ben Hunt-like story? The old half, the man who's been there, done that, goes to another club just to boost him up a little bit, give him that little bit more of experience, a little bit more guidance, and they go on and get the damn thing done. Look, I don't know if old Longneck's the same as Dozer, but I suppose we'll see. And last but not least, I've got the Dolphins scraping into the 8 this year. Again, there was no particular order with that, but they were riddled with injuries last year. Like, they got so unlucky. So many good players coming back in. Isaiah Cartel was having an unreal season. If he can play anything like that and improve on that, which I think a lot of people expect him to do, watch out. You're getting Gilbert back, which is huge, but massive as well that you're getting Tommy Flegler back into the side. Now, whether or not he's going to be 100% at the start, but you basically got 2 Queensland psychos coming into the team, which is amazing for them. Maxi Plath, he's going to be coming back. A few others like that are coming back into the side. Be interesting to see what they do with Trey Fuller and the Hammer, whether they put the Hammer into like a roaming centre role or if he's just going to stay at fullback. But I think they're starting to really build on the depth. The guys like Sal Cobo going there as well. I think he's really going to help them out actually and kind of shine a bit of a light fine in a way. But they're one of those teams that can, like, I reckon they'd be in the top. I'm going to say they're going to be in the top 3 like best attacking teams in the comp. If their defense can like keep up anywhere with that, like they will blow teams out of the water. Like, and we saw it towards different stages last year where they were putting 40, 50, close to 60 points on some teams. You know, like I can see that happening a few more times this season. So Dolphins, I think they're going to be there. It'd be nice to see them there. Alrighty, as for the grand final, who I think is going to be there and who I think is going to win it, I'm going to have to throw out the easy one first. Broncos, my boys are going back to back, easy as. But I just hope that we're not going to be playing a Storm or a Penrith side again. I think everyone's over it. We've seen it. Storm, you've had your go. You lost twice in a row. You're just not made for it. You're not built for it. Fuck, this is going to come bite me in the ass if they go on and win this thing. It's going to be clipped up and I'm going to get shredded. But hey, I'll take it on. I don't mind at all. But I'm overseeing them in there. You know, Penrith Broncos would be a sick game to watch again. Throughout the run back at the 2023 grand final. Awesome rivalry that they've got going on. But I'd like to see somebody else in there. I think a lot of people last year in particular really wanted to see them and Canberra make it all the way together. Like, that would have been an insane game. Whether or not Sticky's boys are going to be able to get back there, I'm not too sure. But the idea of a Dolphins, or I'd say a Bulldogs grand final with the Broncos would just be insane. Particularly, I think, if you had the Doggies and the Broncos. Like, that would be ridiculous. So that is probably going to be my prediction for who's going to be in the grand final. And then, of course, the Brisbane Broncos are going to get done. And I'm going to throw out some scores. Why not? I'm going to say we win 26-6 when we beat the Doggies at the end of the year. Alrighty, time for the wooden spoon. Now, there's 2 teams that I have been kind of tossing up. There's probably one that I'm more hoping gets the spoon, and then there's probably the one that I think is going to get the spoon more so. The one that I think was more likely to get the spoon than anyone else is probably going to be the Knights. They got it last year, and I can't see them improving leaps and bounds. Like, few players in and out. Dilly Bags going to the team. Like, I think the Knights faithful are frothing at the idea of Dilly Bags being there. And don't get me wrong, unreal player. Played out of his skin. Absolutely played the house down in the international scene, playing for New Zealand. Like, killed it. Should have got the golden boot. Absolute gun. But I think that's where the Knights fans are slipping up, where pretty sure the Knights aren't exactly the New Zealand national team. So I think that's going to be a little bit of an unraveling. You know, maybe as well, depends on how much you're going to get Kalen Pong around on the field. But I can see them similar to last year, just being the punching bag for the entire NRL. That's just pretty much what they were. Oh, you want a nice, easy couple points and boost your for and against? Yeah, go play the Knights and flog the fuck out of them. The team that I actually want, and I think a few other people are starting to pick, and I need to chuck a couple coins on this because I can see the Cowboys honestly ending up with the spoon. And my theory for that is just they're due. They're due to get the spoon, but they've been a team for the last few years where their defense has been woeful. Like, they are just like all attack and just grab arm sort of stuff in defense. Like, that's basically what they've been. Teams similar to the Knights, they've become a punching bag and they've just run through them. And the Cowboys, they just seem to be so rocks and diamonds, or at least they have been for the last few years. And I just think a season where they're a little bit more rocks than they are probably 50-50 or a little bit more diamonds is going to be the perfect storm for them to end up right down the bottom of the table, especially going over to America. I feel like that's bad juju for a lot of teams. If they get flogged over there or something bad happens to them, it might just be all downhill, and God, I'd like to see it just as a little bit of revenge for 2015. Now, last but not least, Dally M. Now, I could do top try scorer, top point scorer, but I'm like, nah, can't be fucked. So Dally M, I honestly think that James Tedesco is going to be going back-to-back in 2026 for the Dally M. Now, there's a few moving parts to that, but Teddy's always, just like I've said for so many of these teams, he's always sniffing around. If he's not winning the Dally M, he's in the top 3, coming second, like whatever it might be. And I think a big part of that, like with last year moving into this year, is whether or not he's going to be playing in Origin. If he's like fit and available throughout the Origin period and not playing, he's just going to be raking up points. And I feel like there's not going to be a ton of other players from the Sydney Roosters that are going to be stealing points off him. I feel like another player from a team, another one could be Nathan Cleary, but even then I feel like he's going to have to play out of his skin. Like Teddy just banks up points doing what he does. Like pants down by his ankles, he's scooting everywhere and he's racking up points. That's just what Teddy does. So I can see Teddy going back-to-back in Dally M. Yeah, that's the short, sharp, sweet predictions for the 2026 season from me. Was going to chat a little bit about the trials, but that might be next week because honestly, it's not. I'm so happy footy's back, but I'm not overly thrilled about it until we probably get into week 2 or 3 of the trials at this stage. But yeah, pretty much from me. Make sure you follow, like the video, all that sort of jazz, and see you guys next week.